All right, so we're live. So
Hello.
I want to welcome everybody. It's Chris from Rigging for Fatties, and we have Willie Cahoon from Fishing with Cahoon. Is that correct?
Yeah, catfishing with Cahoon. Actually,
Catfish with Cahoon.
right there. There you go. Let's
All
see.
right.
This goes the complete opposite way. There you go.
That's a pretty cool hat.
Yeah, right
And I
there.
have
Chris from
Yep.
Catfish made these for me. Well, I got one, but that's all I needed at the time.
and I have both. I have both your guys' links in the description. So if you want to check them out, the links are in there. All right, so I guess we'll start off with having Willie introduce himself, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, I'm up here in Ohio. I'm originally from North Carolina. I moved up here in '96, and I've always fished for the most part. As the older I got, the more I catfished. I catfished the Cape Fear River down in Carolina growing up for the most part. But come up here, when I first moved up here, I noticed there's a lot of lakes here. You know, we got a lot of rivers down there, but not a lot of rivers. We have one main river, but move up here and there's mostly lakes. So when I first come up here, I'm like, I'm gonna try this bass fishing stuff, you know. So I did that for a while, and I get tired of bass fishing. I went right straight back to catfishing. So here I end up, you know, I went through a whole process of just loving catfish. That's kind of where I've always been. So that's what I came back to, was just fishing for them catfish and learn how to fish the lakes and stuff for catfish. And you got another entry here, so there we go.
What's going on?
Welcome, Dylan.
How's it going, Terry?
Doing good. So we got Willie introducing himself right now. So if you want to hold on 1 second.
All right.
Yeah, so I ended up in Ohio. So I'm fishing these lakes up here in Ohio. And, you know, you end up bank fishing when you first kind of moved up here and get a boat. And I've been fishing these lakes around here for, guys, 20, 25, 26 years now. So, and just haven't stopped. I can't quit. It's a bad addiction. But I go to the Ohio River and stuff too. I do love the Ohio River. I love Salt Fork. I love all them southern lakes of Ohio too. But go up to Sandusky Bay. I'll go about anywhere. My buddy Jay lives down the road from me. Me and him will kind of fish together quite a bit. Jay Burns, and we'll jump in the boat and fish together. We've learned a lot of stuff together. You know, both of us came with our own knowledge as fishing together, and we both learned a lot together. So, you know, it's all a process of learning. You learn everything as you go. You know, you're never going to truly learn everything. When you think you got something figured out, you don't.
Yep. The great part about fishing, there's always something new to learn.
Yeah.
So we got Dylan. So he won the catfish tournament I put on last weekend with a 70-pound flathead, and we lost him.
And here we went.
That's a great introduction. You got a 70-pound flathead by.
I have fished a lot. I've fished quite a few tournaments out here too. I've fished quite a few tournaments. Then I got out of it, then back into it as far as fishing tournaments. But there it is.
He's driving. That's what's going on. Okay.
So I'm not sure if you heard me, Dylan.
Yeah, I can still hear you. I hit a little bad spot.
So basically, I introduced you that you won the tournament last weekend with your 70-pound flathead. You just want to introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I got you. My name is Dylan, and I became an avid angler about 3.5 years ago.
Hey, Dylan, you're breaking up pretty bad right now.
And we lost him again, probably.
I was gonna say.
That happens, especially when you're driving.
Yeah.
I think you put the brakes on now.
Are you back?
Muskrat
I
Adventures.
think I got it.
What's up, Roger? That's old Roger Dement from Muskrat Adventures. Hello to you.
Are you good now, Dylan?
Yeah, I got it now.
So you want to introduce yourself and
All right. So my name is
He's in and then he's out.
Yeah, we lost him.
Yep. Hey,
Yeah.
Dylan, can you hear us, Dylan? I guess it'd be pretty hard to find out if you could or not. It'd probably come in.
Yeah.
He may have to wait till he gets still somewhere.
Yeah.
well, yeah. So
Yeah.
I put on an online tournament for bank fishing, and last weekend he actually won it with a 70.3 pound flathead, and I believe that was his personal best flathead too.
Yeah, that's a
Some
pretty good
monster.
flathead. 70 pounds anywhere. That's pretty good flatty.
I fish all
Yeah.
the time, and my biggest is still 49.9.
Yeah.
And I'm right next to a river that has monsters like that all the time in there, and still, that's a monster.
You know, it's funny because you can go fish for 10 years and try digging for them flatheads and you know, and you might end up like that, 35, 40 pounds or whatever. And somebody can go out one time and catch a 70 or 60. And it's like, man, I've been trying to get that for 10 years,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly the case.
It is, man. It's crazy.
I took out a guy. He's from Arizona, I think it was. It was a couple of years ago, and he just wanted to catch a blue. And I'm just like, well, we can try and get out a blue. Hooked him into a 66-pound blue. And it was just like, well, that blew away anything I've ever caught before.
Man.
His first time out, just literally just going out first time and 66-pound blue, and he's just
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. 66 pounds. Yeah. That's a good blue. There's a lot of people out there don't know what it's like to catch a fish over 20 pounds,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Because, some people are stuck in channel cat territory. Like I'm in channel cat territory. So,
Yeah.
searching for flatties, you got to go 2 hours away, or you got to go to a flathead lake where there's, like Salt Fork or Clendenning or places like that, to search for flatheads in a lake. Then you're kind of fishing for them in a whole different way than you would on a river, So you got two different things going on there.
Those channels you guys got out there, though, that would be a blast, and that would be a dream scenario still. Either way,
Oh, yeah,
those
they
are monsters.
I still like channel cats. Some guys get tired of channel, but I like, I'm a person, I like to hunt for the biggest channel cat I can find. That's my challenge, is to beat the last one that I caught. Of course, that's all of our challenge, but my challenge is to beat the last biggest that I've got.
What is your biggest up at Sandusky?
My biggest at Sandusky Bay. I don't go up there as often as I want to, but I go up there probably a couple times a year, maybe 3 times a year. I've got a 23 out of there, and numerous 18s and 19s, 15s, 16s, but 23 right now is my biggest out of there. And as far as my local lake over here, out in the Portage Lakes area, my biggest channel out of here is 20.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. That would be a blast of a channel still.
Oh, it is. You know, and channel cats are one of the things. Once they hit like 10 pounds, the whole game of the fight changes. You know.
Oh yeah. I think setting up, whatever body of water you're on, having that set up with your rods and reels for the fight, rig up, set up, to the waters you're fishing. You don't have to go a big old massive catfish rod, if you're in smaller fish areas.
Right.
You can use a medium rod, you can use whatever, and enjoy that fight still. Enjoy the fun behind them.
Oh, absolutely. Like an ugly stick, the Shakespeare
Yeah.
ugly stick. That is a great rod. I've caught a lot of big flatheads on the Shakespeare ugly stick, but that's a great rod for channel catfish, and it really is, because it puts a lot of fight into them, but it's not so light that you can't get them in on time without hurting the fish. Too long you can hurt the fish. Bringing them up out of deep water too quick will also hurt them too. So.
Yep.
I mean, I've caught a lot of nice fish off Berkeley big game rods.
Yeah. Those things are perfectly set up. I love the tips. Very light tip too.
Yeah.
Those channels, when they come in, they just pecking at the bait, Yeah. Those are perfect rods for that.
Yep. And them Berkeley big game rods, they're kind of a slow action rod, so they're like like a 15, 30 pound blank or something like that. The line weight. There's a calculation for that, but when you start talking about rods and stuff, but it's kind of a limber rod, but it's also, you can control a little bit bigger fish with it also.
Yep.
You got service now, Dylan?
Yeah.
You want to try to introduce yourself again?
Yeah, we're good this time. All right. My name's Dylan. I got into fishing about 4 years ago. I've always fished my whole life, but I really got into it about 4.5 years ago when I got out of school. And it caught my eye because I seen somebody catch a giant flathead out of one of my waterways that I lived by. Well, I figured, let me get into it, because striped bass has been one of my biggest things, but it never worked out. So I gave up on it and went to trophy catfishing. And for a year and a half of learning, I was catching nothing but small fish and getting nothing maybe bigger than maybe 10 pounds. But I started learning a bunch of techniques and all that, and diving into it a lot deeper and changing locations, searching for them. And I started landing bigger fish, and it was a thrill. And I have as much fun as I do catching a big fish as catching a little fish, but there's more of a reward to catching one of them bigger fish, especially knowing that you have to go and hunt it or find it sometimes in your waterways. But that's what got me into fishing, a lot of it.
And
Heck yeah.
what major rivers do you actually fish? You're from Tennessee, right?
Yeah, so I fish, the main river I fish is the Cumberland River, but I have took a couple drives out to the Tennessee River and pulled in some decent blue cats. But a lot of my luck has came from the Cumberland River and a couple of the rivers that branch off of it, like the Red River. The 70 did come from the Cumberland River, closer towards Dover, Tennessee. But that was quite a thrill. That was a lifetime fishing. I didn't expect to get something like that, honestly. That weekend and that tournament was pretty thrilling, because Friday night I didn't catch anything besides a small little blue, and it kind of had me a little upset, but I didn't lose faith. I was just there for the fun of it for the most part anyway, but not any point in that tournament did I expect to pull out a 70-pound flathead. That was the biggest fish of my lifetime, and that right there is another reason why I fish the way I do, is the reward of catching something like that, like a lifetime fish.
Yeah, I know when you turned that one in, I was watching a video, and I was like, man, I hope he did everything right. I hate to disqualify him if he messed up, because, I mean, that was a nice fish.
I know, that's why when it was a random dude recording for me too, and before I handed him the phone, I even told him, I was like, I'm not trying to sound rude or not. I was like, but please make sure all these little things that I have around it are in this video, and that tape measure is clearly red. I was like, I cannot have this shit lost. I was like, because as soon as I'm done, this fish is going back in the water. It was intense. It was a great thrill though.
So muskrat.
Tournament wise, you never want to see those kind of things happen. You know, the littlest thing, a measurement, play out touch. I do tournaments that you have bump boards and you have to line the fish right up, the nose right up to the end of the bump board. And I had about a 60 plus pound blue, somewhere in that range. And I didn't realize after all my pictures, and I usually take a few, that the nose wasn't touching. It was just slightly off. And you can see like a little bit of light in between. And oh man, to have that disqualified, it probably would have won that tournament. So that was one that kind of hurt. But the thrill of the fight, you know, that's one thing you still have. You have that memory of that though too.
Yeah, just the memories that last from that's the best part about it, is the memories you make in those tournaments and in those experiences.
Yep. The thing is too, whenever you need video going for something like that, it's never rolling.
Yeah, that's no joke.
Yep. Man, if I had all the pictures and videos of the fish that I've caught over my time in the sport of catfishing, I'd have a ton of pictures. But you know what? That's okay. You know, that's why I have my YouTube channel now. I want to try to bring what we're doing to people and try to put them in the boat with you. You know, it's not, but yeah, that's a heck of a flathead there.
Like that, believe it or not, and it kind of hurt because I was expecting to go back there last night and try and do some flathead fishing, and it hurt just a little bit to see how many people were out there, but it made me feel good because almost 7 people walked up to me because they seen me and like kind of recognized me, and they asked if I was the one that caught that 70 and what it was like and what I was using for bait. And them showing interest in catfishing because of that makes me happy, because it's like just somebody catching a gigantic catfish around that area and somebody else seeing it makes them want to go out and start getting into that same sport.
Yeah.
And the sport of catfishing is big, but it's not as big as all like bass fishing and all these other game fish that they have tournaments for. Catfishing is still growing. It's a largely growing community, but it's not as big as all these other ones.
That's okay though. I don't mind keeping it all to ourselves.
Yeah,
I was literally thinking the exact same thing. I'm like, you can stay smaller. I'm okay.
Yeah, it don't bother me either, but it's also, it makes me happy when I see somebody else new getting into it because of, say, somebody like us pulling in those big fish and motivating them to go out and try it.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And it's fun catfishing anyway.
And it's like they've asked me and I've told them, I was like, man, you're not guaranteed a big fish. I was like, I fished for 1.5 years and didn't catch no big fish. I was like, it took almost 2 years of me fishing and learning before I started getting into like true trophy sized catfish.
Yep. Talk about that. Muskrat wants to know, Dylon, what change did you take from going from a 10-pound fish to a trophy sized fish? Like, what kind of changes did you do?
What the changes I made were locations because of catching smaller fish in those other locations, but also presentations of baits, the size baits, and I believe that you could catch any size fish on any size bait, and to a degree it is true, but it depends on the time of the year. But if you want true trophy fish and true trophy catfish, you got to throw big baits. You got to throw them something that they're going to see and say, hey, this is going to fill me up, or this is going to give me a good little boost into my feeding. You can't go out there with a little 3-inch shad and expect to catch a 20 to 30 pound catfish off of it. I mean, I have caught a 35-pound flathead off of a little 4-inch shad, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to my big key to getting bigger fish, but a bigger bait.
Yeah, I know what he's saying. There's some truth to that. I mean, I've seen some big off a piece of popcorn size, but
I was gonna say there's definitely truth to that, but yeah, if they're hungry enough and they're in that area, they'll go for just about any size too.
no, yeah.
That's why I always use different size baits on each rod.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's different cuts, different all kinds of stuff. I mean, I've seen some bigger fish coming off little 2 by 2 inch pieces of cut bait.
Yeah.
2 inch by 2 inch, chunk, and
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, my PB, I threw out some big old pieces in that entire area, and the one rod that I put on a couple tiny little pieces was the one that brought in my PB blue, 82 pounds. So
82. That's pretty good.
I'm still looking to beat it.
Yeah. How long does it take you to get to your waters to go fishing, Chris?
Mine, I actually have my waters right behind me, but where I want to go, just like Dylan was saying, the target areas, I drive about an hour and a half.
Do you?
Yeah, that's fine.
But I also fish out of kayak, so I'll move a good 10 miles as well in my kayak, fishing a lot of areas. So
yeah, I think our real closest blue area is probably hour and a half to 2 hours. There's some lakes that's got some blues in it down south. We don't really have blue waters here in our local area, so we got to kind of go out to get them. Hit the river, or like I said, they're stocking some of these lakes now. These not newer lakes, but these lakes that's never had blues in them. They're starting to stock some blues in these lakes, like West Branch. They just put, I think, like 58,000 in there last year. But they're starting to stock them around. But there's Hoover out in Columbus. That's a ways out there. They're catching some decent blues and stuff out there.
what's the growth rates on them out there?
Hey, I don't know. I honestly can't tell you. I'm guessing probably about any catfish anywhere you go is probably a pound a year or something.
Yeah, I figured with those
Couple pounds.
northern colder waters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't tell you the growth rate on them. I just know I like them to be good and grown when I get them.
Yeah. Right.
Muskrat said 4.5 pounds a year.
4.5 pounds a year. Okay. See, I don't know them types of numbers.
Hey.
Thanks for that, Roger.
I was gonna say that's a good growth rate out there.
Is that at Hoover, or is that like Seneca and those kind of lakes too?
I don't know. I would almost say Roger says Hoover, but I would almost say because they got the same kind of weather out there that we got kind of out over Seneca and stuff. So it's probably the same. Just I think they're a little bit more newly introduced to like Seneca and places like that. They are Hoover. I don't know how long they've been putting them in Hoover. Roger, do you know how long they've been putting blues in Hoover, or when they started that, or are they always there? I really don't know about Hoover. So
I don't know if you can see that, Willie, but he says the average growth rate in this region is around 2.5 pounds.
2.5
pounds. So that's our same out here as well. We got Branched Oak Lake that's got blues in it, and our growth rate is about 2.5 pounds. We got some lakes south of us in Kansas that their growth rate is, I think, 3.5, 0.4, somewhere in that range down there. And they're not that far. It's just those locations and being south, it makes a difference in their growth rates.
Yeah. I know for like bass and stuff down south, that makes a big difference,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monsters down there.
Yeah.
So it looks like Roger said they started stocking Hoover in 2011.
Okay, so that's been they got some growth in between then and now, from 2011.
13 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have some real trophies in there now.
Yeah. Well, they catch them. I don't know what the biggest is out here. There's been some pretty good ones come out of here. I've seen pictures, I guess it looks like some 40s, maybe 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
So
Some trophy size and getting into it there.
I thought I saw a few weeks ago someone had some, like maybe a low 60. I saw.
Oh yeah.
Could be, yeah.
Well,
I've never been on Hoover, so I haven't
60
been.
plus.
Roger said 60 plus.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. That's a good lake than where they're at now. It's a very good lake.
Yeah.
So Dylan, what did you catch that flathead off of?
That it was off of a 1-inch piece of skipjack.
1-inch piece of skipjack.
And that's where my thing with like baits, the size of your baits really depends on the time of year and the water temps.
Oh yeah.
So with flatheads, they're more aggressive in that 55-degree water and up. That 55 degrees is technically their power feeding temperatures. They're going around finding all the bait they can to stock up and get ready for the winter time. So I kind of put the same concept into play when I was fishing this weekend. I was throwing some big baits, but then I took one of my poles and I was like, all right, I'm going to put a small bait on here and see if some small bait's going to get me something, because I was getting some big bites, but they were short bites. They weren't taking the big baits. They were just trying to break it down. So I threw a small little piece of 1-inch skipjack on. I cut it into a chunk and then took the bone piece of it and hooked that onto my hook. Maybe 10 minutes into my bait being in the water, my pole started going down slowly, and I was like, that's not small.
No.
I cranked down on it, and as soon as I cranked down, it felt like a snag. So I grabbed the rod and pulled back, and that's when she realized she was hooked, and she began pulling drag, and I was like, all right, they wanted some small bait.
You knew you were on.
Uh-huh.
That slow pull is always.
Oh, I love that slow pull. Oh, man.
That slow pull, with blue cats, seems like they want to run towards, run up river or whatever. But them slow pull, flathead, man, it's like, okay, something's getting ready to happen here, and it's going to be good.
So that's my thing. The blues and the flatheads, I get such a big old thrill out of either one of them. The blues, it's just hammer down. It's hammer time. It's like you just rush over to that rod, get it, you're going. The flatheads, it's like you just watch that slow roll go, and you almost get mesmerized by it. You're just like watching. You're like, oh man, yeah. Oh wait, I gotta get that.
With the blue, there's no weight on that rod to bury with the blue. That thing just completely doubles over. But with the flathead, it's like you said, it slowly just moves down. It's just like they just gradually pick it up and just slowly keep on going.
Yeah. It's almost like a blue cat's excited and a flathead's just like, I'll take that and just turn and go.
But I will say, the 40-pound blue that I have caught, he did take my rod down pretty slow.
Yeah.
It wasn't as slow as a flathead, but it was a slow, complete bury-over.
Yeah. Sometimes on flatheads are just smoker rods.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Sometimes
they'll
they will.
double it too.
Yep.
It's all fun. I was just telling my wife the other night, I don't care how many fish you catch. When you start to see that rod go, whether if it's fast or slow, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yep.
See that rod just go. You guys have caught a lot of catfish. I've caught a lot of catfish. It excites you every time. I don't care if it's been 1,000 times the same day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, I still get giddy like a little schoolgirl every time I see it going. I'm all like, let's go.
I'll see it start moving. I'll get up and I'm like, come on, do it. Just take it.
Yeah.
It gets me riled up. It's just like, I know you're there. Just take it. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Or, you're half asleep, so you're going to be falling asleep, so you turn your bait clicker on.
Yeah.
And you start hearing it go off, you wake up instantly. It's like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you can't go to sleep for the next 4 or 5 hours either afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got all that adrenaline running through you, and it's like, all right, let's go. Let's get another one.
Yep.
That's definitely happened to me on quite a few nights on the bank.
Yep.
I think Roger, didn't he say at his last comment there, he caught a 53-pound flathead off of, I think there was a small, white bass, and then he had said there was a 3-pound drum in it still. in his throat.
I believe it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you know what, Roger? That was Skip. Skip was with you, wasn't he? I think I saw the picture. Yeah, I did see the picture of that. But I was wondering what that was hanging out of his mouth because I read it, but I forgot by now. But I saw that the other day when you and Skip was out.
Yeah, last year I caught a flathead. It was about 32-pound flathead, and when I got it in, had a big old carp in his mouth, big old grass carp.
Yeah.
And he spit it up by the time I got that flathead up on the shore there. That grass carp was probably a good 15, 16-pound grass carp. And I'm like, how did you even get that in? You know, you're not choking or dying off this thing. You know, it's just hanging halfway in, you know.
Yeah.
It's crazy the things that they can take in. And
It is crazy what they can eat.
Oh yeah.
and still go after the next bait.
So
Yeah.
You know, I was reading here a while back. They did some studies on flatheads, and it's been a few years ago, but they said I read in there that what I was reading, this is information. You know, I was just reading information stuff. They said a 45-pound flathead could suck in a bait from 6 feet away.
From what?
yeah, they got a vacuum like that.
Yep, they can suck.
Oh, okay.
A 45-pound flathead can suck in a bait from 6 feet away. That's how much suction draw that they have.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I can believe that. I've heard them.
Way wider than a normal catfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can believe that. I've been in some shallower waters that you could hear that almost that suction and then that pop kind of sound.
Yeah.
You know, and yep, I always thought it was the coolest thing ever. Night fishing, and all of a sudden you just hear this suction pop kind of sound. It's like, what the heck was that? You know, I'm always thinking river otters. And I found out later, you know, I actually had to hear that from a buddy that was probably flatheads at that time because you couldn't see anything else, but it was on the water level, like just this little suction kind of suck down motion all of a sudden. You just hear a pop.
Yeah, I remember when I first started targeting flatheads, I heard that a couple of times, and I had no clue what that sound was.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, you fish your waters is that shallow, more shallow type waters where you're at? You know, I seen a couple of videos. You was catching bait the other day. I think you was catching was it red eye or whatever, moon eye or something?
The gold eye, yeah.
Gold eye, what it was. And is there flatheads in that water there, or is that just like a?
Oh yeah. There's monster flatheads in that waterway there, but now that's just a creek. It really ranges. You got some holes in there that are about, you know, in the teens, and then it could drop into inches where you could walk right across from it, you know. But now I'm right next to the Missouri River. We got everything flowing into the Missouri River, and that's a large river. So,
right.
So let me ask y'all something. When y'all target flatheads at night, where do y'all prefer to go?
I fish shallow.
Well, yeah, shallow, but like, say bottom of like your riverway, like sand bottom, rock bottom. So normally at night I go with sand bottom or sandbar banks for my flatheads.
I see what you're saying. Like,
yeah.
You know, the higher river is it is what it is. If we're fishing the higher river, of course, we'll catch them just as much in the daytime as in the nighttime. But, you know, there's sometimes I guess nights could be a little better because they get out and roam a little more, maybe they're more hunting a little more. But, you know, when we're targeting flatheads in a river, we're pretty much finding the structure and setting it up in front of them and they come get it. But at nighttime, we're doing the same thing at nighttime, but they seem to move a little more. And then, they had that shutdown time that you go for a while without getting anything, that type of stuff. But the way the bottom is, I mean, the higher river is just a muddy river. So don't really know. Now, if you could find some harder structure, some rock structures or whatever. Like I was up with Joe Granada up towards PA where he's at, and me and him was out. He showed me a couple places that that he likes that's got some hard rotten bottom, and it's one of the places that he likes there. But in the areas where I go more down on the southern part of the Ohio River, like in West Virginia, it's a lot of mud. You'll find them rock walls and stuff like that, but not really like boulder structure, like concrete structures, a whole lot of them. But barges, that's always a go-to. But
Oh yeah, I like going to barges for flatheads.
yeah, especially when you see them piled up. There's a bunch of wood and trash piled in front of the barge.
Yeah, when you see that barges haven't moved in a while, that's a good spot.
Yeah, that's the first thing I'll look for. If there's trash and wood and stuff piled up where it's just collecting in front of it, and it's sitting there, that's good. That's a good sign because it hadn't been moved out for a little while. And so that's always look for that. But you know what? Barges are so easy to come across. And they're fun to fish, but that's not like the hunt. You're trying to look for them. You got all your sonar and your grass and stuff, and you're trying to, you really want to get down to hunting these fish. And like I said, barges is a good go-to because we do it too. But sometimes you just feel like you're not fishing like as you should just by hitting barges. So I always try to want to push ourselves to look for something that you're not the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
Yep. That was about as perfect of a response as you could get.
Oh yeah.
I would say any other change on that, because I'm a kayak, but I might as well be banked too. When I'm out in the kayak, I still have to bank it wherever I'm at, especially Missouri River. It's constantly flowing water, so I can't just sit out in the middle of the river.
Yeah.
So I'll float to a spot, I'll pull out my anchor pole and I'll jam it into the ground there, and I'm still sitting, but I might as well be anchored at that point. So I look for structure that's also on the surface, but I look how it's kicking. The water's kicking off of areas too. So for that slack water, I found flatheads a lot of times in those slack waters, backwaters, just because where it's slack, and if you get that structure at the same time too, I found them a lot in those areas. But feeder creeks for nighttime, I look for those feeder creeks, and I'm going to set up right next to those every single time I can.
Oh yeah.
See, I fish a lot of feeder creeks or like log jams because most of the rivers around us, they're mostly just dirt bottom. There's no rocks or nothing.
Right.
That's what we got a lot of those kind of areas out here as well. But we do have, the wing dikes and do have a lot of rocky areas we can look for as well too. So we got a whole combination of everything out here.
Yeah, that's the good thing, and I was thinking about you. I've never fished out of a kayak, but as you were sitting here explaining that, I would almost think being in a kayak versus starting up a motor, and flying around looking for something. You know what I mean? When you're in the kayak, you're strategically trying to pick the best thing that you can possibly pick to save your energy or whatever. That's kind of what I'm thinking. You can't just go 15 miles down the river or 20 miles or upriver,
No, definitely not.
You're trying to get the best situation that you could possibly put together in your head with looking at the bank line, looking at this, looking at that. I don't know, looking at the graph on your kayak, trying to put it all together and pick the best spot you can get. I can picture you doing that,
See, my graph, my fish finder, I don't even really use it as far as finding things or looking for stuff. I use it for tracking my speed. That is about the only thing I ever use it for. I will go over a spot and I'll mark it, and next time I go out fishing, I'm in that same area, I'll go by that same area again, check it out. But for the most part, it's really just controlling my speed, especially when I'm out dragging baits. That's all I ever use it for. When I'm going down river, I'm always looking at least a good 200 yards ahead of me, seeing what I can see and try and make my way over. Closer I get, I really got to start making a plan. Am I going to stop here? Can I stop here? That's one of the biggest things. Can I stop here? you know, and yeah, it does make it fun. You learn a lot pretty quick. You learn how to read the rivers really quickly in that way.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's
follow
what
the channel.
you too. You know, you gotta in your search, you gotta look at the bank line and you're trying to figure out, can I get on that piece of bank right there?
Yep.
There's a cliff or you know, somewhere that comes down that you can at least get on the bank. You know, that's probably another part of your battle too, doing that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a totally different ball game being in the kayak compared to a boat or even bank. It's fun, but yeah, each way you guys go out fishing, bank, boat, kayak, you all have kind of a little bit of a different system, a different way of going at it because of what you're, you know, how you're going after them.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, the bank guys, I got great respect for them and where they have to go, how they have to get to those spots. You know, you want to get to one of those spots that are really hard to find, you know, that, you know, you really, really got to do your research. You really got to hit some areas. You know, you don't want to hit an area that everybody knows all the time because, you know, you might catch a fish there, here and there. That's a really good one. But I mean, those areas get hit hard. You know, if you're able to do the research, know what you're also looking for while you're doing the research to find those kind of spots, you know, I have a lot of respect for the bank guys when they do all that. Find some secluded area.
That's why I love Google Maps.
Sometimes it's a struggle, especially. I mean, it wouldn't even be a struggle of finding a spot. It's getting to that spot and being able to like physically get to it. There's been a couple spots that I have that you can get to, but I have definitely beat myself up through the woods and down rock banks to get down to them.
Yeah.
But it's worth it because then you get down to them and you catch those big fish that nobody else has touched, even caught, or even had anything mess with a bait. So you're throwing them out there and they're seeing it and they're like, why is this just sitting here in front of me like this? You shouldn't be here.
Yep. You worry about those cuts and bruises the next day, not at that time.
Yeah. That's a next day thing.
Yep.
I've definitely woke up the next morning sore from fishing trips because of me beating myself up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's worth it in the end. It's worth it.
I tell you what, even being in a boat, like I fish out of a boat mostly. Now I'll go down the road and go bank fish or whatever, but I don't care where I go. I'm on Google Earth and I'm looking at every inch of the bank line. I'm looking at every.
That's how I try to do everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the navionics. I'm pulling that up, comparing it to the real overhead view of Google Earth, just doing every possible thing that I can possibly do to set up maybe a game plan, whether if it's a lake or river. I don't care where I'm going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm doing it. Even the same places I've always been. The same. I like the lake's going to change, you know, whatever. I'm still looking at it every time I go.
Yeah, Google Maps. That's one of my best friends.
Yep.
I love that site. Oh yeah.
I pay for OnX, the hunting app.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever use that one or not.
Never
No, one of my buddies has that. He tells me it's great things about it.
It's nice because like you go along the rivers and you actually see which one's public land or private land.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's private land, they actually have the owners' names and stuff on there where you can get permission or you know, it has all the public land. I mean, I think it's like $20 a year.
That's not bad.
That's probably one of the best things, especially for the bank guys, because then you know who to talk to and get permission. You know,
I mean, I can look at a river 3 hours away right on my phone and see who exactly owns that land and that spot.
Yep.
Or if it's public land, I know I can fish there without getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thing. One of the small rivers I actually love to fish out here. It's all private land, but you got people that go out all the time. They never ask permission. But one of my first things I ever did when I got down to that area is I went right over to the farmer that was closest to it, asked them who was the owner, find out, you know, and then I headed up another 10 miles and actually talked to the owner. I got permission from them. And the only thing that they asked me, you know, was, you know, clean up your stuff, obviously, afterward. if you see anybody else down there, let me know. He started to have a real problem with them at that point. And he respected the fact that I asked, that's all you got to do. If you find out you can't, they don't want you there, then fine. You move on to the next place. You start looking for another spot and go ask the owner that owns that land.
Mhm.
There's plenty of people out there that, they're going to give you permission. They just ask you to clean up your area, afterwards. And there's lots of people that they're good at, for it.
Leave it cleaner than it was when you showed up.
Yes, sir.
That's how I am. Anytime I leave a spot that's public, if it's one of them areas I know other people go to, I'll fill up my 5-gallon bucket with trash on my way out. And even on the way in, I'll put trash in it and just put it in the bottom. Go home, throw it away in the trash can. And it's simple. It's easy. All you got to do is just put it in your bucket when you're fishing. Everybody carries a bucket or a bag or something with them.
Yep.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many times I go out and I always have a trash bag on my bait bucket next to my fridge, ready to do whatever I got for bait or putting in. And next thing I know, I'm out there. Where's that trash bag? Where's that trash bag?
Yeah.
Literally put it down and forget it off the kitchen floor or something. Or
trash bag's so easy too. You can just roll it up, put it in your pocket until it's time to walk out of the woods.
That's what everybody tells me all the time, and yet I still forget every single time. And then my bait bucket and everything else filled up with trash afterwards.
I always have a couple bags in my tackle bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to start doing it this other way.
Plus, when my daughter's with me, guys have a gas station, get snacks for her. So we always got that bag.
So Dylan, do you fish out of a boat at all? You all bank fish?
I normally bank fish, but I do kayak fish in the summer.
Okay.
And in the spring, but I am mainly a bank fisherman. I do want to get a boat, but I'm stuck on the bank until I get the boat.
Yeah.
But it's still worth it. I can't.
Oh yeah.
There's plenty of people that I've seen. They sit there and you got to be on a boat to catch big fish. And after I started catching big fish, that was the first thing I said was, you do not got to be on a boat to catch a big fish.
It sometimes depends on where you go. That's the only bad thing about like the higher river, down kind of in the areas we go. There's bank line, but man, there's a cliff where, some of it's so terrible to. It's just it's rutted out, and there's big cliffs that drop down to the water, and it's just almost impossible. But
see, that's how the Cumberland River is for the most part. Is a lot of our river it's just straight drop offs into the river.
Yeah.
But from using Google Earth and scouting and looking, I found a bunch of spots that does even out into the river, just casually walking up to it. But like you said, most of our river is just a straight drop off on each side, at least 20 to 30 foot of a drop off.
Wow. Yeah, that's the bad part about rivers. There's a lot of lakes you can go to. Salt Fork. I've had a boat for years and years and years, whether if it's this type of boat or whatever, but I did a lot of bank fishing at Salt Fork because I could just drive down there and not pull a boat, and I still like getting on the bank. And Salt Fork's a big lake down in southern Ohio, in case you didn't know. But and some good flatheads that we've caught, has been off the bank there. I tell you one thing that a boat will do to cause you to, if you don't pay attention to what you're doing, it'll cause you to move a lot. You pick your spot. And you're committed to that spot for a while. So you try to get the best you can get out of that spot, casting far as you can, or this way or that way. You're trying to get as much as you can. And that's the thing too. When you're in a river, the way the current's going, if you're below them, they're not going to know. You got to be above and figure out your lanes that you want to pitch things in. So there's a lot to be done being on the bank on a river.
Oh yeah.
Those hard banks like you're describing there, though, those are some of my absolute favorite, though, too. When I'm in
Yeah.
the kayak, oh man, I look for those places
The
too. Have those,
straight drop off ledges into the
yep,
river. It's just
big
like,
old
come on, I
high
know what's
flat
sitting right
banks. Oh
there.
man, yeah, those are some of the best spots though too.
Yeah, I like to fish Salt Fork more. What is that? Probably what, an hour and a half from here, Willie?
Yeah, Salt Fork is about an hour and a half. Seneca is probably about an hour and 45, or right at 2 hours or something. That's about an hour and 45, I think, from here. But
See,
Salt Fork,
I never had luck at tapping.
uh, Tappan is one of those places that I've been to Tappan just only a few times. I'm not a big fan of tapping. I don't know why. I'm just not a big fan of tapping. I mean, you can go there and throw a cast net off the bridge or something and get your bait, some shad or whatever. But not a big fan of Tappan Lake. Uh, Seneca years ago used to bank fish off of Dam Road where the dam is there, and Salt Fork. I still like Salt Fork because Salt Fork. Just so you know, Terry, Salt Fork is a lake that actually it warms up probably one of the quickest to warm up down there because it's such a shallow end, and that water's just being shallow on that one end where the park office is. That warms up quicker, so a lot of bait and things move up in that area. Of course, there's only a bridge this wide for them to go through from the other side. So, but they're still in there, man. Over by the park office. That's a good springtime bank area.
Yeah, I never fished that lake ever, so
You should. There's good flatheads in there. I mean, if you're bank fishing up behind the park office, there's a lot of room there. If you go past the park office, you'd have to see it if you go there, but there's a road that goes down through and it's got a little circle on the end of it. Well, I'll go down that bank line, or I used to. I hadn't done it in a while, but I'll go down that bank line and I'll set up there. And we've got some good ones there. Even got some flatheads over by the marina. Caught some decent ones over by the marina, but down by the park office, early spring, getting into this time and on is a good time for that park office area. So if you ever look that up early in the spring like this, that's going to be one of the first places you probably want to spend some time. It's shallow. It's only like 5 to 7 foot all the way across that whole body of water there.
I'll have to look at some maps on there. Josh says Piedmont and Clendening, big cats.
Yep.
I like his last comment before that.
Kayak one.
Yeah. Went out 2 times and decided nope.
Yeah, it wasn't got 3 weeks till I come out and meet you out there. Or was it 4 weeks? Somewhere around there.
4 weeks, I'm thinking. Yeah. I got an area we're gonna go. I got an area. The river that I did want to take, Harry, they actually had a fertilizer spill
Yeah,
3 weeks ago. Killed the entire river.
I heard
You got
about
fish.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw 6,000 fish they found dead or something like that.
Oh yeah, and still finding them. I mean, it's just I couldn't believe it. I was kind of hoping, by the time Terry came down, it should be cleared. You got the rains and everything else coming out, but I don't know. I think that waterway is going to take a little while to recover after that. Everything's dead in there.
That's messed up.
Yeah. So now I got a river that we're going to go out on. I've had a lot of luck there. Actually, it's where I caught my PB blue, so we'll have fun on that one. It's just harder to get onto. Got a couple of sides that aren't as fun. We might have a little bit of blood and bruising, as Dylan was talking earlier.
Yeah.
Getting down to it, but it's worth it. It makes it worth it, those kind of areas. So.
Oh, Josh said Dylan catch your next state record on flathead on Mad Cats. We'll put your rod in our store. Laugh out loud.
Hey, I seen that when you commented on that post. I'll take you serious on that offer. I was 15 pounds off from the state record, and our state record for flatheads is back from like 1980 something or 1990 something, I believe. So it's time for that state record to be broken.
I
So
hear
know
him. Go ahead.
Ohio state record is what? How old is it? Like 1960, Willie?
Yeah, what was it? 60? What is it? 67 or 72? I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as the weight goes, it's 60. What is it? What is the state record? Ain't it 67 or something?
Oh shoot, I don't even know.
Some
Ohio's messed up anyways. Ohio flathead.
It's gonna be rough beating ours. Ours is 106 pounds.
Yeah, that's going to be.
Ohio is 76 pounds.
76. Okay. First, I don't know why I was getting mixed up on the numbers, but yeah, that's 76 is going to be pretty hard to beat. I mean, I know there's big ones pulled, but it's been close to that, but not for me. But
yeah, it's caught in 1979.
yeah, that's. You never know. You never know. I'm going hard this year, guys. So I'm gonna see what happens. I'll probably end up with a 20-pound flathead. I'm going hard this year. That I was down last year, so I gotta make up for it. And what I really like to do too is put a lot of it on video. I really want to put how I'm finding this and doing this on my videos. So I just don't want to catch a fish, show it to you. Catch a fish, show it to you. I want to try to gather all the information and to have fun while we're doing it. To get these videos done. So, and lots of times it's hard to do your video, and also when you're really trying to concentrate on finding fish. But I'm gonna try to do both. So
I'm really bad at engaging with my audience on camera. Once I get into fishing, I'm just all about the fishing. I almost forget the cameras are there about just about every single time I'm out. So it's like I got a fish, I catch it and I put it back. Don't even really show the camera. I'm like, oh man. Afterwards, I'm like, maybe I should have showed that to everybody, or at least turned around and been like, here, look, fish. Okay, now we can go.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to do videoing and to where you can get your footage and still do your fishing, which that's the part that makes you happy is the fishing. Of course, I like the videos makes me happy too, but also having somebody with you that you can, there's a couple people that I do fish with that we don't even have to talk, man. We just know what's going on. You know what I mean? We don't have to be like, hey, do this, do that, or vice versa. We know what's going on. We just do it. So, but it's hard to get that person to sometimes a person to be able to run a camera for you when you're doing something. But I know how I want things to be done, but it's not always easy.
Oh yeah, it looks like you travel a lot too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a few of your videos look like you put in some real good miles there.
Yeah. Me and it goes back again to my buddy Jay. Me and him we'll go down to the James River, the Higher River. Just lots of times we have big plans and we try to follow through on them. It's just not always that easy sometimes because, man, I tell you, we're probably the kings of staying awake. I mean, I've left from here on a Thursday night after getting off work, and we'll drive through the night, be on the James River after driving all night, fish all day long, fish all that night, and then maybe sleep an hour or so, then wake back up, and then we're fishing all that next day, and then drive all the way back, So, I mean, we push ourselves. I mean, most people that go with me or him, I've had this happen to me. I've had people go out with me and they're like, man, I'm not going out with you no more. Just because I don't want to get off the water, or I won't let you sleep neither. Like, rod move. Hey, there goes your rod. We
would get along pretty well. That's
I I'm so excited to be there from start to finish.
That literally sounds like me in my last 4 trips. It's been exactly as you described there. So it's like everything you were saying, I'm like, yep. And I get that 1 hour of sleep. I'm like, hopefully it's good enough to get me home.
It's like Brian, my buddy Brian, he owns BCAP boards, and me and him's been out, and man, he pushes himself, but man, he'll fall asleep on you. But I usually leave old Brian alone. I'll let him sleep for a little and wake him up. But he's funny. He's funny guy.
All he needs a 15-minute nap.
Huh?
All he needs a 15-minute nap.
Yeah. Well, that's the way Jay is. He'll sleep for 10, 15 minutes. He's ready to roll for another 3, 4 hours, 5 hours. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I get off on third shift, get off at 7, take a 15-minute nap, and I'm good the rest of the day.
Yeah. Sometimes
that's how I am when I'm out fishing. Otherwise, no. No.
Like last year for Catfish Conference, I think I was up at 2 a.m. Left here at 4, was down here all day. I got back home at 10 o'clock that night.
Did you?
Jeez.
Did it snow? Did you leave on a Saturday or?
We left Saturday. Yeah, it snowed all the way down.
Did man?
You had a little blizzard, didn't you?
Oh, it's like a little mini blizzard going through Columbus and like I forget the other small towns. But yeah, all the roads all white out. Couldn't hardly see. It was going like 25 all the way down.
Yep, it was terrible. We ran into the same thing,
Yeah.
We made it though. Kind of ran around the place and talked to a few people, and it wasn't a normal setting for us. Me and the wife, we usually go and we'll get a hotel, stay down there the whole weekend. And buddy Steve Stacy, he used to run on Catnappers rods, and we would all hang out, whatever. But just time just kind of was a whole different program for me. 2 guys went with me that I worked with, and we still had fun. It was our first time going to something like that. One on walleye fishes. He don't even catfish, but and the other one he catfishes. But they're both still. Fishing's fishing. Really, if it's walleye or catfish for people. So
yeah, the green carp fishing though. Yeah.
Dylan,
I'm 6'4", 290. I tried the stand-up kayak. Nope. Well, Josh, I'm 6'2", and I'm 280, and the standing up part not as fun, but new canoe, it's a great kayak. It'll handle.
I guess I'll find out in a couple of weeks what you guys talking about the whole kayak fishing.
Oh, you're gonna have fun. I'm hoping where we're going up at that we can do a little bit of dragging. Our water temps are still very cold here. I don't know about you guys. I know Dylan said you got like 57 water temps.
Yeah.
We're still 37. Actually looked at it the other day. It was 37.1 was our water temps.
Wow.
It takes a little bit here. But once it starts to warm up, it shoots up quick.
Yeah, we're probably in the 45, 47s around here right now.
Yeah, I hadn't looked at the water temp just only because I haven't been on it. So I haven't imagined I haven't been on it yet. I still got to break my motor in, so which I'm going to be doing Monday. I don't have to work Monday, so I'm breaking my motor in Monday. I got to do it and just get once I'm on the water, it's not going to stop. The wife, she was telling me she's going to be a single woman for the rest of the summer. So
my wife knows how that is as well.
So you want to see it. But yeah.
That's the YouTube side for you though. You really get out to some areas, you go constantly out, it takes you a bit away there.
Yeah, I saw about entering the King of Sandusky Bay this year. Biggest channel cast, $10,000 to win.
Wow.
Wow.
I told my wife I entered that. I was like, you ain't gonna see me on the weekends.
So how is that working for one tournament, or is that for that cover like the whole year, or
It covers, I think, May through July.
May to July? Okay.
Yeah.
So how are they going to determine that? Is it just going to be by the weight that you show, or I mean,
I guess you gotta take your fish up to Sandusky Bait and get it weighed.
okay, that's that. I hadn't heard anything about that, so that's why I know there's quite a few tournaments going on out there this year. So and that's the first I heard of that one. You know, if you got that, send it to me because I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I'll send a link to you.
Yeah,
I think it's like $50 entry fee.
okay. So see, you got to go to Sandusky Bait. Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you a link, but it's all just Sandusky Bay channel cats.
Okay. And that just pushes you more to go out there and fish anyway, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
I fish up there all the time anyway, so why not try it?
how often you go there, Terry?
Most time April through June, probably about every other weekend.
Do you really?
Yeah.
What you know, they got the broken down bridge out there. Do you go in between? Do you go on that peninsula that runs out there? Do you fish off of that?
Mainly like April, May, I fished the Danbury side, which is I don't even know. But then probably June through the rest of the year, I've always fished on Bayview, which is where the old Route 2 bridge used to be.
Right. There's a little bait store right there on that road too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. See, I'll usually put in that marina that's down the road. What is that? What's that? There? You can pay $10 to put your boat in or whatever.
Is it the one in Bayview?
Yeah.
I
I can't remember the name of it, but that's where I'll usually put my boat in the water at.
I know which one you're talking about.
You know, you write a little ticket thing where you put your driver's plate on it, license plate on it, and you know, $10. You know, it's an honor system thing. You should do it. You know, but that's usually where I put in that. But that takes you right in between the the trestle and the bridge.
Yeah.
I want to venture out past that this year. I want to go down past under Route 2 bridge and go out on the other side. I want to look at some things over there. Getting earlier in the year.
Yeah, I heard that's like really shallow over there.
It is. It is as far as I've seen. I pulled up all the depths and stuff. Now I've been out on the other side of the bridge, but I've only been just 2 or 3 football fields out. You know what I mean? I've drug down them rocks and stuff over there, and I've been down towards the island on the other side of the trestle. I've been in that area out there. So I just want to venture more and just find more things out there instead of in between the old trestle and bridge thing all over again.
Yeah, as a bank fisherman, I'm kind of stuck in a couple areas.
Yeah.
Well,
that thing about the bay too, Terry. That and I don't know if you guys know this, but the bay, if you ever come up this way and go there, that current, that's a bay that has current because of the lake out there, and it's almost like a tidal current, like on the James River. That works off a tidal current. So the bay, it'll shift. I've seen it change 5-6 times in one day.
Well, I sat there watching on bank once where actually you're fishing, and all of a sudden you look down, your water's 2 foot away from you.
Yeah, that water.
Constantly moving on.
Yeah, you start off at night though, when you're right on the edge of the water, and then all of a sudden you look back and like, crap, I'm 2 foot away from the damn bank. Like the water just moves away from you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a dream area that some of those channels Terry's told me about. You guys get up that way. I've always wanted to come up there. Maybe we'll have to try and plan something out.
Yeah. It's fun, man. I mean, the bay's fun, but the only bad thing about the bay is it can ruin you because in your head, when you leave the bay and go somewhere else for channel cats, you just don't. It doesn't happen like that anywhere, and it can ruin you. It can just it can ruin your whole. Because anywhere you go, you expect it to be like, and it's not going to be that way everywhere you go. So,
basically, there's really no bad spots on the bay.
No, it's just bad times. Always fish there, but There could be slower times. A slow time on the bay is that compares to about a good place anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, there's some nights up there I can only fish with one rod.
Yeah. Oh,
You
you
can keep up.
Mm-hmm.
That never sounds like a bad problem there.
I kind of look at the bay like the James River. Like the James River, the way it is for blue cats, that's the way the bay is for channel cats.
Yeah. That's what I've actually kind of heard from people before too, that have fished both James and Sandusky.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys were talking about it, it might ruin you as far as that other way. I was just thinking, the fact of catching a 20-pound channel, how coming back here will ruin it for me coming back here. We don't have those channels back here like that, so.
Yeah, they get bigger. I mean, there's been some 20. I know there was a 29 caught out here. What was it last year? That's a picture that I saw. And
yeah, I saw it.
Did you see that? The 29? Yeah. So, I mean, who knows, man? The sky's the limit. Just putting time on it,
Yeah.
So I think
we got a lake out here that has monsters in it too, but it's not like I hear out there. There's big channels in it, but out there, Sandusky, what I hear, and you guys are averaging 20 pounds or whatever. That's what I'm hearing. And
it's funny because the average can change. One day you're averaging. Me and Scott, my friend Scott, me and him went there, and we was catching 15, 16. We caught a 19.6. I think it was 19.6. That was the biggest that we got that day. And I think Jay, he was on his boat. He got a 20. Because we'll go out there and have like this small competition between friends, and it's pretty fun doing that. But I think Jay got us about like a pound or half pound or something, So we'll do that sometimes about every year. We'll go out there and have a little fun time just running around, by catching fish and showing, you'll send a video to each other, you're on your boat, he's on his, just send a picture, and,
All right. So anything last to say? I mean, it's been
fun, you guys.
It was fun, yeah.
So, well, before we
wanted to show you guys my new mug I got real quick here, though. It says, "Fishing saved me from becoming a porn star. Wow, I'm just a hooker now."
That's a good one.
yeah. All right.
Before we go, I mean, like, I just have a question for everybody. And sometimes I hadn't seen these messages on here because I can't hardly see. But like Terry and Dylan and Chris, like, what's you guys' goal for this year? Like, what do you want to try to do this year?
I'll go ahead, Dylan. Go ahead, start.
I don't know. I would say for now is just focus on nothing but trophy cats. Seeing as how like I'm fully getting into them more, and I've been into them for about a year. I think that's gonna be my focus. Try and get nothing but good trophy cats all year.
And Chris.
Well, Dylan will laugh at this one, but I'm just trying to beat my 50-pound PB flathead. So that's my goal. That was my goal last year. That was my goal the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. But one of these years it's going to happen, and I'm hoping it's this year.
Believe it or not, it's not that hard, really. The female flatheads are the ones that get heavier. They'll be shorter, but they'll be heavier than the rest of them.
Our waterways up here, just like it's still being cold as it is right now too. We got those shorter time periods to get on them.
Yeah.
Especially the flatheads, because they're later to start feeding and they quit sooner. Up here, the blues, we get the blues all year long. They are always eating. So yeah, it makes a little bit more of a challenge, but that's the fun part too, because you got that shorter time period to get on them.
Yeah.
When you're talking about 70 and 50, I just want to get a 40-pound flathead.
He said, I just want to get a 40.
Well, that river I'm going to take you to, like I said, that's where I got my PB flat or my PB blue. I've caught lots of 40s, pound flatheads in that river. So I think we have a very good chance on your flathead wise. Your
And
blue as well. Yes.
Yeah, I was videos come from you guys. If you guys get together and y'all gonna do this, y'all gonna do it. Y'all doing it day, night, or what are you gonna do?
The whole weekend.
The whole weekend.
Yep.
I want to see some good videos come from you guys, man.
What?
Y'all better make some good content if it's a whole weekend.
Yep.
Are you looking for the fish or are you looking for the kayak bloopers? Which one are you looking for?
All of it. All of it.
Yeah, all in one.
Yeah.
You might get
All
kayak
in
bloopers
one.
from me.
Yeah. Let's get it all.
Oh yeah, we're looking forward to putting out a good video on that one. So
I'm looking forward to fishing with Willie later this summer too, or spring.
Oh yeah, we'll get you. I know the Benoit girls. We can get them out on the bay. Get them out there. There's so much I want to do this year. It's going to be hard to pack it into the season, But
Yep.
Yeah.
With me too.
But yeah, we'll get out, man. I mean, we'll figure out something to go jump on the higher. We're going to do something,
Yeah.
I tell you what, if you don't mind missing sleep, we're going to go.
I'm a third shifter. I don't know what sleep is.
I was going to say fishing, sleep, they don't come together. So
Yeah, no, not at all.
So. Well, it's been fun, guys.
Yeah, I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
you guys have me on.
thanks you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys welcome anytime. So thanks for watching. Please give a thumbs up and give all these guys a subscription. All the links are in the description of the video.
Yes, sir.
All right. You guys
Later, everybody.
Y'all, anybody, if we missed your comments, sorry about that because I can see the screens.
You guys have a good night.
All right.
You
Have a
too,
good
Terry.